it doesn't want to stay. Having trouble with the microphone already. There we go. There we go.
Thanks.
Are we ready? See a lot of familiar faces this morning, so what a great way to start the week. Today I am really excited to use our first weekly news conference to announce that I'll be leading the state's very first all Iowa ag trade mission to China. And how fitting is it that we will be visiting our friend, Ambassador Branstad in China. So why China? Well, this will actually be my, I think, 6th trade mission to China. So it's been a priority of ours over the last 6.5 years. But, you know, Iowa has a special relationship with China. We've exported $33.6 million of pork to China, which represents about 3.12% of Iowa pork. In fact, when Governor Branstad and I visited Seaboard Triumph in Sioux City, they indicated at that point that 30% of the pork processed goes to China. And of course, 1 out of 4 rows of soybeans are exported to China. So really, the relationship is not only a testament to Ambassador Branstad's work and is sure to benefit Iowa's economy for years to come. We need to cultivate and continue to maximize the relationship and sell our quality Iowa products to help build a better Iowa. There's no doubt that complex issues have arisen with China in the past. To name a few, we're working to open the market for beef again, or the work with the distiller dried DDGs. We've seen movement with beef, but still understand there is work to be done. So this trade mission will go a long ways to help solve some of those problems. President Xi said during a visit to Iowa that agriculture serves as the ballast in the China-U.S. relationship. And that has been strengthened throughout our 34-year history and relationship with Hebei province and our sister city, Shijiazhuang. On July 19th through July 28th, commodity groups and farmers throughout Iowa will join me on an all Iowa ag trade mission to Shanghai, Xi'an, and Beijing. The trade mission's focus is to grow our exports and to improve Iowa's economy. Right now, 1 in 5 jobs are attributed to international trade, and actually 1 in 6 jobs is attributable to agriculture and ag-related industries. And ag pumps about $112 billion of money into our economy annually. We know that we do this by building relationships and meeting customers in their own countries to better understand their needs. Personal relationships and friendships are significant in the Chinese culture. And if Iowa farmers want to be the main supplier of choice to China's 1.4 billion people, one of the world's biggest customers, that's where we'll go. So now I'd like to bring to the podium Lieutenant Governor Gregg to tell you more about who is going on the trade mission. Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Governor Reynolds. There's no doubt that the international missions that you and then Governor Branstad led around the world the past 6.5 years have brought more good-paying jobs to our state, expanded our export markets, and built long-lasting relationships with partners around the globe. This is how you compete in a global marketplace, and I'm excited to hear this trip announced as the first in our administration. I believe we have most, if not all, of the representatives here today. Traveling and supporting the trade mission with Governor Reynolds will be Iowa farmers and the following leaders of their respective organizations. We've got Craig Floss, the CEO of the Iowa Corn Growers Association, Kirk Leeds, the CEO of the Iowa Soybean Association, Pat McGonigal, CEO of the Iowa Pork Producers, Craig Hill, president of the Iowa Farm Bureau, Kevin Stiles, CEO of the Iowa Egg Council, Mitch Schulte of the Midwest Dairy Association and the Iowa State Dairy Association, Greta Irwin, Executive Director of the Iowa Turkey Federation, Matt Deppy, CEO of the Iowa Cattlemen, Chris Freeland, CEO of the Iowa Beef Industry Council. I want to say there is one extra special person who's going on this trade mission, and that's my father-in-law, Steve Rader, who's here today. He serves as president of the Iowa Beef Industry Council and operates a Century Farm with his family back home in Sioux County. Steve, I'm happy for you, but I got to say, this is a pretty typical in-law move to elbow your way into a trade mission before I even get to lead one. But in all seriousness, I am truly excited for you and for everyone who gets to be a part of this historic trip. And now I'd like to turn it over to Craig Floss of the Iowa Corn Growers Association to tell you more about the historic nature of this trade mission. Craig.
Good morning. My name is Craig Floss, and I am the CEO of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Iowa's farmers continue to grow and produce food and fuel at an unprecedented pace. Certainly, our farmers' ability to produce has outstripped our ability to consume these products both in-state and around the country. For Iowa's farmers and agribusinesses to succeed and for Iowa's economy to thrive, trade and export of our ag production to other countries is absolutely vital. Iowa's farmers want to thank Governor Reynolds and Lieutenant Governor Gregg for your understanding of the importance of agriculture and trade by leading this important mission to China. And make no mistake about it, this is an historic mission. There has never been a time where more ag groups have come together for a single mission than at this point, and this trip to China. Ag groups participating, as the Lieutenant Governor indicated, are the Cattlemen, the Corn Growers, Dairy, Egg and Poultry, Farm Bureau, Iowa Pork, Soybean, and Iowa Turkey. We believe very strongly that uniting our Iowa ag community creates a strong force to work on common issues of mutual benefit. We also recognize that for some of our commodities, China is a developed market. For others, it's a new market. And for others, we have a number of barriers that still need to be resolved. But with 20% of the world's population and only 10% of the world's arable land, it is absolutely essential that China has imports for a stable food supply, and that makes China a critical market for all of Iowa agriculture. With Governor Reynolds in the lead, Iowa ag groups will be meeting with government officials, industry partners, and of course, Ambassador Branstad, who will help us navigate solutions to our current issues. We'll be thanking the Chinese for our current and future business. As well as I wanted to mention that it should be noted that the Iowa farmers are paying for this mission that are a part of this group. Today, we have several farmer leaders in attendance that will be available for questions at the conclusion of our remarks. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Kirk Leeds. I'm the CEO of the Iowa Soybean Association. And first of all, Governor Reynolds, it's a great day for us. We have a great friend, again, in the governor's office. Congratulations to you and to our Lieutenant Governor. We look forward to taking you to China soon. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to returning to China. I've had the opportunity to travel to China about 20 times for Iowa soybean farmers. And as been indicated, this is a historic trip as we take really all of the major ag commodity groups and farm organizations to China. We're looking forward to meeting with Ambassador Branstad. It'll be a different experience, and having the ambassador there, we look forward to that. U.S. exports are really important to the soybean industry. We export about 60% of the U.S. soybean crop is exported every year, and China is by far the largest customer of soybeans in the world. In fact, today, China imports more than 60% of all the soybeans exported in the world, a market that really did not exist to the U.S. or to the world really 15 years ago. Tremendous growth. In the soy-specific portions of the mission, we're going to spend 3 or 4 days looking at some very soy-specific things. In this mission, we're going to be honored to have the governor come with us to look at a fish farm that the Iowa Soybean Association has invested about $1 million in, helping them develop a new system of feeding aquaculture, feeding fish in an aquaculture system. We will visit this farm where we've invested, as I said, $1 million. Investments that have been matched by over $200 million now by the Chinese government as they work to improve pond aquaculture all across China. This approach, called in-pond raceway system, increases feed efficiency and improves water quality throughout China. Today, this technology is not only being used all across China, but is also being used in countries such as India, Vietnam, Egypt, Colombia, and Mexico. Aquaculture feed today globally utilizes soybeans from 325 million bushels, or a production annually of about 60% of Iowa's total soybean production. It's the fastest growing use for soybean meal in the world. We look forward to this historic trip with our friends from all of Iowa agriculture, and we're honored to be part of this mission with Governor Reynolds.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Deppie. I'm the CEO of the Iowa Cattlemen's Association. And first off, thank you, Governor Reynolds and Lieutenant Governor Gregg, for including all of our agricultural industries in this very historic special opportunity to promote Iowa ag and add value to our products and add value to our economy in our state. It's my pleasure to serve our Iowa beef business as well as the Iowa Beef Industry Council in this upcoming mission trip to China in July. And behind me are out in the audience, our producer membership, along with other commodities represented here today. As the governor alluded, Iowa's beef industry is cautiously optimistic on the developments recently through the last spring related to the Chinese market. And once again, legally putting the U.S. beef at the plate of many plates across that country. It's a value-added opportunity for our producers, for U.S. producers all across the countryside. And it wouldn't be able to happen. The ban has been actually a 13-year ban. It wouldn't have come true if we wouldn't have those investments from our producers through our checkoff. Investing in mission trips like this, where we go, as has been alluded earlier in this press conference, to address issues and challenges with various marketers, but also build relationships, which has been very key and important as we work forward. But just a little bit to explain just some details related to the current discussions related to the beef trade agreement that seems to be coming along quite the right way. You will reference back in early April, there was a meeting between our President Trump and President Xi Jinping in Mar-a-Lago related to initiating some opportunities for beef trade, U.S. beef trade to China. Most recently, on May 11th, the Department of Congress came with some very good news in relationship to a deal being put together, and those details are still coming. And so we continue to be cautiously optimistic. One final piece related to what things that we're waiting for related to this trade agreement would be connected to one more follow-up related to technical consultations between the U.S. and the Chinese government relationship to beef trade. Ultimately, and to put a cherry on top, this is the importance, and you've heard the importance to all of our commodity groups, what this country and this relationship is from an ag value standpoint. But to sum it up, 1.4 billion people, a population that has a middle class larger than the United States domestic population. It seems pretty logical that we want to have a relationship there, and we want to grow Iowa ag value through exports to that market. So I look forward to this opportunity. We look forward in the beef business, and I know the rest of the agricultural community to date as well. Thank you.
With that, we'd open it up to questions. Well, if the governor has his, or the ambassador has his way, he will. I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. Okay. That'd be me. If I have my way, too, that applies to me also. When we're over in China for the trade mission, he's hoping that we're serving Iowa premium beef out of the embassy. So they continue to work on the negotiations. I don't know, Matt, if you've got any.
Yeah, so the negotiations, to what we understand, have been somewhat finalized. There are some final things to come around, and basically what needs to happen yet, or what the Department of Commerce told us several weeks back, was there needs to be another technical consultation between the Chinese government and the U.S. So that would involve whether it's audits of packing plants, those types of things coming forward. But ultimately, we're hoping by this trip that everything is lined out.
So you think this trip could actually be the start? When you guys consume this,
we're certainly hoping for that. So that's our goal.
Well, just in relation to that, I mean, it's one thing to have it, the door open. It's another thing to actually sell them a lot of it. I mean, I understand that it would be a symbolic thing to have to serve the Chinese embassy, but would it be anywhere near, would the amount of beef that's being sold be anywhere near the amount of pork that is being?
Well, you have to have access before you can start to grow a market, and so.
That's my question. What type of market do you expect? Would you expect like 1/4 of the Iowa beef to be going over there? And would this result in additional beef cattle, being fed here in Iowa as a result of it?
Yeah.
So I go back to the overall size of the middle class, size of the overall population, and the volume opportunity market that's in China today for Iowa's beef producers, but also U.S. beef producers. We've got a lot of stories standing behind me that are very positive in relationship to having just simple access to that country to proactively put trade together. From a beef perspective, and when you talk about the Chinese opportunities from a marketing standpoint, that market has actually grown from the third or fourth largest beef market in the world to the second largest coming up this year. It's also an opportunity. It's around a $2.6 billion market from a beef trade standpoint as well. So access, like the governor just mentioned, is very, very, very crucial first step as we work forward.
And 93% of our purchasing power is outside of the United States. And so we need to continually look for ways that we can grow and expand access to Iowa commodities and Iowa products.
Well, I think it's the story of exports. When we talk about protein or grain exports, those types of things, value added is always what we think about from a producer and farmer perspective. So when you look at the Asian countries, chuck rolls are very important. Parts and different cuts out of the round are very important. But there should be some opportunity also to do some value added opportunities for things that we send to Japan and other countries in the Asian markets, like tongue and other types of what we would consider meats that we don't necessarily sell here in the domestic market. So they'd be value added that way.
Oh, I would venture to guess that most of them have gone at some point. You know, I told the story, but one of the first trade missions I had the opportunity to lead was 6 months on the job as lieutenant governor when we had flooding on the western side of the state and we were still in session. And so that trade mission was to China and South Korea. And what I learned from that very first trade mission was, first of all, Iowans think globally. They know how important it is to our economy when you consider 1 in 6 jobs and 1 in 5 jobs are attributed to international trade, 1 in 6 jobs attributed to agriculture and ag-related business, but also just the brand that Iowa had, that it carries around the world, and that's safe, reliable, quality products. And that Iowans expect us to look for opportunities to expand our market share around the world. And so we've worked diligently since that time to look for opportunities to grow and expand. And it is about relationships, especially with the Asian market. And so from the governor's relationship with Xi Jinping, but I had the opportunity on one of my trade missions to also meet with then Vice President Xi in the Great Hall of the People. And when you have the opportunity to meet with the vice president, the rest of the meetings go quite well because you are very well respected in China. And so I can't underscore how important and how fortunate we are to have the relationships that we do with the leadership in China. And I'm hoping we can also get a meeting with Minister Han, with Minister of Agriculture. And we were able to meet with him on that trip that I met with Vice President Xi also. Xi'an. We'll get that to you afterwards. Just they spell it how I say it. Yeah, it's not. How many total are going? Do you know? I mean,
There's 8 groups.
8 groups going. I had 40 with me the first time that I went, so that was a large, but it was various industries that were participating in that. But it's the first time that we've had the culmination of all of the ag groups. So timing is everything, right? We were hoping that we would get him confirmed so he could be over there and be settled in. We anticipated. Well, actually, it was not too long after the announcement, I think, I had the opportunity to sit down with Kirk Leeds with the Iowa Soybean Association and Kerry. And at that point, he had indicated that they were really interested in doing an all ag trade mission and wanted to know if I would be interested in leading that trade mission. And I said, I absolutely would be interested in doing that. And especially if Governor Branstad was confirmed as the ambassador to China, which we anticipated that he would be with the relationship that he has with China. And so from that meeting, when I said that I would be honored really to lead that trade mission, we started kind of putting the plans together. And then it's just like any other trade mission, you got to fit it into the schedule, and you're working with a lot of groups. And then we were also waiting to see when the confirmation took place for Ambassador Branstad.
He talked about getting Iowa into and being able to serve it from the president. Did you expect it to happen so fast?
Well, they've been working on this for a long time, but we were really encouraged from the meeting that President Trump had with President Xi in Mar-a-Lago. So that's where it really kind of, they first indicated that they were going to open the market for beef. And so that's a tremendous opportunity for beef producers, not only in Iowa, but across the nation. And so it sounds like there's a few more details to work out, but we're hopeful and cautiously optimistic that, again, Ambassador Branstad will be able to serve the delegation, Iowa premium beef, when we're there in July.
So how much beef had been sold from Iowa in China before this mad cow disease thing?
I have no idea.
I'd have to look into that.
I think the bottom line, Bill, just to remember, is just to open that access, to open that market to beef is just a tremendous opportunity for our producers. I mean, Kirk talked about how you've expanded. You've talked about opportunity. I mean, every one of the ag groups that are here talk about the opportunity that exists with opening up markets. And so this is a tremendous opportunity to bring value add to our producers in the state of Iowa.
Trade missions are typically paid through private donations to the Iowa Economic Development Authority Foundation. I'm curious why do things differently with this trip, and is that new?
We've done it both ways. So that's not unusual. This one is being led by the commodity groups. And so they are funding it. We will lead another trade mission later this year that will be funded through the Economic Development Authority Foundation. So I've done both ways, and so has Governor Branstad. Yes.
Will that information be disclosed?
It can be. Yep.
What's the next one you're leading?
I can't. I know. I knew I was going to get a little better at this. We'll be announcing that in the coming months.
And do you know, Governor Branstad sounds like he'll be over there and settled in by the time you arrive. Do you know yet?
We don't. He left, I believe, this morning to head to Washington, D.C. I believe there's 3 weeks of ambassador training that they go through. So it would probably be the end of June before he will be the family will be heading to China.
This seems like for Iowa farmers. Have you had any reaction or anything?
I think you're seeing a lot of smiling faces up here, so they're excited about the opportunity. This is great. This is great for Iowa. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy, and anytime that we can expand and grow access to what we produce here in Iowa, it's a good day for Iowans.
Let me ask a question about something.
Sure.
I know on Friday you announced leadership position, permanent position. I'm curious when you kind of make final decisions on agency leadership. How are you approaching that?
Well, as I'd indicated too, we're meeting with all of the various agencies, sitting down, talking about what their vision is going forward, things we could do better to help support them and their agencies, any suggestions or initiatives that they're working on. So we're still working through that, meeting with the various agencies, and those decisions will be made over the next several weeks.
Could that mean people leaving those top?
Well, we'll just wait and see. I mean, we're going to sit down and we're visiting with the various directors of the various agencies and talking about our vision moving forward, what they're doing, how we can better support them in their efforts to serve Iowans. And so we'll keep you posted on the progress of those meetings over the next several weeks.
Who is in charge of getting the reynoldsgrade.com website? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, we've got a great team in place that are doing great things, and we're going to focus on doing the job and serving Iowans, and that's what we're really focused on every day. I laid out 4 priorities in the inauguration, and so we've got a lot of work to do. I'm looking forward, as I indicated, those are 4 broad priorities, 4 areas that I believe will help build a better Iowa, and so we're going to be going to all 99 counties and talking to Iowans, meeting with Iowans, getting feedback, talking about how we're going to accomplish those goals moving forward. So really, that's what we're focused on right now.
Tim Albright ridiculing Jack Hatchett when they did acquire all the social media.
Well, I'm not going to rehash that or relive it. Like I said, we're focused on doing the job at hand, and that's what we're gonna work on every day.
On the goals and priorities, right now the URLs for those 4 goals are broken. When can the public expect more details on those policies?
Well, we'll look at that this afternoon if they are, to see what's happening there. But that's what I said. You know, we've laid out a broad vision, but we're going to be traveling Iowa and meeting with Iowans, and then we'll have details forthcoming over the interim. We'll start laying those out as we travel across the state and give you more details on how we'll be implementing those. One of the issues that we talked about is making sure that we have a workforce for the future. Future Ready Iowa is a big piece of that. And I have the great honor of co-chairing that with Dan Houston. And so right now we have a group of stakeholders that are diligently working on that. They'll be making their recommendations to our office in October, and then we'll take those recommendations and hopefully there'll be, you know, strategy that will help us reach our goal of having 70% of Iowans have either education or training beyond high school by the year 2025. So we've had some preliminary recommendations, expanding STEM Best, which is a initiative under the Governor's STEM Advisory Council that's really getting some great results, looking at opportunities to expand apprenticeships and maybe doing some pre-apprenticeships in high school. So we're working through what those recommendations look like, and we'll hear those in October. So that's an example of how we'll build that out.
Sorry. There's another child abuse case here in Iowa this time in Perry, the spring array, planning to investigate DHS and how they handle these child abuse cases.
Well, they're doing that, and any oversight, you know, every day we should ask each agency, and especially when it comes to making sure that the most vulnerable are safe and secure, is to continue to look for ways that we can do a better job of providing those services. And so we should continually be asking ourselves, what can we do different? So there will be a thorough oversight of existing policies and procedures. We're working with law enforcement there also, but that should be done every single day as we're looking at how we can best serve Iowans and especially those most vulnerable. So there is an ongoing review, and I believe the legislature is looking at some oversight on policy and procedures, and we need to be doing that. We should be doing that every day.
Two of those cases involve children in homeschool, and some are criticizing the change in Iowa law in 2015 that allowed homeschoolers to be partially regulated. Do you think that needs acceptance?
Well, I think we need to look holistically at everything, but there's a lot of families that homeschool their children that are doing great things and providing a great quality education for their students. But you don't just look at it in isolation. You need to look at how we are delivering those services holistically. And so all of that will be reviewed.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about this sex discrimination situation at the University of Iowa. We've had three come in overwhelmingly saying that discrimination in the athletic department at the University of Iowa. There's been another major settlement, 2 major figures at the University of Iowa. The state is paying more than $6 million. Should Gary Carr be fired?
Well, that's a regent decision. They have a separate board, and so that's a decision that the regents need to make, and we'll be handling that. Thank you.